You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 185.2.9. Cliff Hawkins reacts to Tipton's sectional draw. The interview was done by Michelle Garmon as part of her sectional preview for the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome, basketball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. The IHSA basketball sectional draw was revealed on Sunday, and we've had reactions from several local head coaches. And today we have Tipton head coach Cliff Hawkins, who became the 20th head coach in IHSA history with 600 victories when the Blue Devils beat Benton Central on Friday in the conference playoffs. In his career, Hawkins has led DeKalb, Center Grove, and Tipton to sectional championships and took DeKalb to 3 regional titles and a semi-state championship in 2003. Tipton has won 3 sectionals in a row under Hawkins, and another March is upcoming and for a Tipton program that is used to winning championships in March. Coming up, Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune spoke to Coach Hawkins about his achievement, this year's Blue Devils, Sunday sectional draw, and a lot more. Tipton is in the top half of the draw at the sectional at Frankton. They open the sectional at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, March 4th against 15-7 Taylor. The Blue Devils beat the Titans 43-40 at Taylor in a tight game on February 15th. With a win, another 15-win team, Sheridan, awaits in the first semifinal on Friday, March 7th. The championship is scheduled for 7:30 March 8th and will feature either 17-5 LaPel, 13-8 Frankton, or 5-16 Elwood. Here's Coach Hawkins with Michelle Garmon.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Coach, you kind of had a whirlwind weekend. Nice senior night, 600 victory, and then you turn around on Sunday night and you find out your tournament draw for next week's boys basketball sectional. What did you think of your draw?
Well, I think, when I look at draws, I always think there's an advantage if you only have to play 2 games. And Sheridan is an example of that possibly, and LaPel has it in the other bracket. So I think they got very good draws. As far as for the rest of us, we have to play our games, and we're we're very familiar, obviously, with Taylor. They're returning a team that all started in the sectional last year. It'll be a game that we'll definitely have to prepare for and be ready to play.
This year in a sectional, with the way they redid this sectional, I mean, it was never an easy sectional, but your sectional is a tougher sectional. Maybe it's probably one of the toughest in Class 2A.
I think so. When you look at the quality of the teams and you look at the quality of the coaching within the sectional, honestly, any of the teams could win the sectional, and I think the team with the most good luck probably will. So it is a real test, but it certainly toughens you up for the next round if you're able to advance.
And of course, I know you've played Taylor here recently, and if you're fortunate enough to win on Tuesday night, then you get Sheridan, a team Tipton hasn't played for a few years. Is that kind of an advantage in a sectional that's filled? I guess you don't play Sheridan, you don't play Elwood in the regular season, and everybody else you do. So is it kind of nice to have a fresh face?
Well, I think so, and of course, Bill Bone's done a really nice job with his team. So, if either of Taylor or us are fortunate enough to advance, we'll definitely have our hands full on Friday night. But in tournament play, you focus, one quarter at a time and one game at a time. And we hope to have the opportunity to be able to play Sheridan on Friday night.
I know you said the nice thing about the bye is only having to play 2 games, but since you close out the regular season on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, are you? Is there a part of you that's kind of glad to be playing in that first game so that you only have a week between games?
Yeah, I think 10 days would be a long time. And especially when you've had to play the schedule we've played. I mean, we had 5 games in 8 days, and there was just some real rambunctious game scheduling there. And so we needed to kind of uh, hope that it'd be a little bit different. And I think you are right. With just having a week off will be a lot better than having longer time off. But at the same time, we still have to play 3 games to win it all.
Yeah, I know that's the one thing that's a daunting task, especially when in a tough sectional. Uh,
Right.
Cliff, tell me about your team and the Blue Devils and how you've seen the season progress, even through some of the second half crazy scheduling you've had the last couple of months.
Well, I think our team got tougher. We learned to win on the road right from the beginning, and that's one thing our team likes to do. They embraced it, and they like to play on the road. So I think that's one advantage of us going to the sectional is that we like playing on the road. So from here on out, including Lewis Cass tomorrow night, uh, you know, you have to be road warrior tough, and you have to have a lot of poise. And I think our kids understand that. And um, uh, so that from that part, I think our kids have really improved and have an understanding of competition that way. As far as our team, we just have continued to evolve. I mean, we still fast break basketball. We still do a number of things, but we've really had to hang our hat on playing really good defense. And fortunately, we're still able to speed up the game when we need to, and we're able to just make it awful hard on the half court to score. So I do think we're a very difficult team to play against right at this moment.
I know Coach Kevin Cherry, when we talked to him earlier on the draw, he was talking about he thought that Grady may be the most difficult matchup, one-on-one matchup in the sectional. A lot of that his versatility, the fact that he can go down and post up inside if you need him to, that he handles the ball, such a good passer, and can play so well on the perimeter.
Oh yeah, I think there's no question about that. That Grady is that difficult matchup, but that's why a lot of people don't play him with one man. A lot of times they're doing some different stunts or just some different things to try to guard with two, and that's when we really concentrate on trying to keep the ball in the middle of the court, because I think it's very difficult to double there, because you can get some guys stepping up and knocking some shots down if they come off there. So we try to really focus on keeping him in the middle of the court. But a lot of times you can't, just because of the nature of where the ball is. But um, yeah, he's a very difficult matchup. But I think each team that has had a lot of success this year has different matchups that are difficult to defend, and that's part of tournament success, is being able to master the moments at the time that you have to master them based on the personnel of the other team, and you have to take somebody's strengths away.
Being a Having won the sectional 3 straight years, um, and I know it's a different half the field is different, but you foresee or do you think that your team, that group of seniors, or even maybe some of the underclassmen, feel pressure for a four-peat?
I don't know if they do or they don't. For some of them, it's their first sectional, so but they do know the history, and obviously they want to do well. And I don't think they'll handle it any different than they did this season, because, we've had some really successful seasons the last 3 years as well. And this team had very little scoring and varsity experience back other than our two main guards. And then Landon played a lot, but he wasn't always a starter. And I think the younger players, it took them a little while to figure out the varsity game and how fast it was and how you had to play every play, that you couldn't take plays off, and you couldn't do some of the things that maybe you were able to get away with when you were younger. You actually had to read the defense. But I think our kids have done a wonderful job with that. And I constantly talk about looking and seeing. Everybody looks at the game, but how many of you see it? And I think our kids are really starting to see the game, and the moves that they need to make or the cuts that they need to make. I think they're really doing a nice job with that, and I'm really proud of their determination to persevere through learning the game of varsity basketball.
And I know that the team struggled with the perimeter shooting to start the season, but it seems to be here down the stretch that the perimeter shooting, and when I say the perimeter shooting, I really mean a lot of 3-pointers and everything that has improved for you as the season's gone on.
It has, because again, getting your footwork correct, getting lined up, realizing what you have to do to get a 3-point shot off, holding your follow through to the fullest extent. I mean, all those things are really, really important, and we really had to get our footwork down. And we're still not there 100%, but again, the kids have worked on it so hard that they've made a lot of progress, and are beginning to be able to make some of the distance shots. Plus, we've been able to get the ball inside some and then back out, and that always makes it a little bit easier to shoot that three, stepping into it versus turning from your side and catching it. So we think that's been helpful to us.
Yeah, I know you talked about defense earlier being a key, and we know Grady is a good two-way player, but defensively, you get a lot of seem to get a lot of spark plug type plays from Sam Quigley, who I think is probably the career leader in floor burns, and sophomore Peyton Haller.
Yeah, between the two of them, uh, Peyton puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the basketball. Anybody that dribbles knows who Peyton is, because he is there. And then Sam does a great job of really chasing the shooters and making it difficult on some of the good shooters that are on the other team. And if you've noticed the last 3 or 4 games, he has done an incredible job with that, as Peyton has done an incredible job with ball pressure. So you put those two guys out there guarding people like that, and then we've got some inside presence with Grayson and Landon, and we got some toughness in Quinn Smith, and then you've got Grady on the backside of something ready to rebound. We have a pretty good defense going right now.
So, what are going to be the keys for Tipton, for the Blue Devils, to cut down the nets at the Eagles' Nest on Saturday, March 8th?
Yeah, I think the main thing will be truly take each quarter at a time. I've always talked about, if you win every quarter, regardless of by how much, you can't be beat. And so we'll really focus in on the quarters, and winning every quarter and doing the things that it takes. I think loose balls and taking charges are going to be a real key. And then our rebounding, most of the year we've out rebounded our opponents, and it's very important our offensive and defensive rebounding stay very strong. So I think those things are consistent in all games. Now there's little things we have to do for adjustments for each game, but the things of rebounding, doing the little things that become big things because you're willing to do them, is just and focusing on really trying to shut people down, with each quarter and try to win every quarter. I think those things are what can help us be successful and in winning a fourth consecutive tournament.
Thank you so much to Coach Hawkins for spending his time on the Central Indiana Sports Report, talking with you, the fans. And thank you so much to Michelle. I say it every single time, and I mean it every single time. She's the best. And thank you for listening. Please go like, subscribe, or follow us. Please go to our YouTube page and follow us at the Central Indiana Sports Report. We are super easy to find. And if you wouldn't mind doing us a huge favor and helping us out so much, please tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.